Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms joining me now. Madam Mayor, thank you very much for being with us. There is a new report from the Center for Public Integrity where Dr. Deborah Birx is mentioning increasing rates in Georgia as well as other states. Tell me about the situation in Atlanta. It's among a handful of cities where there are still major concerns. Now, how are you combating the disease in Atlanta?
It's unfortunate, Andrea, as I saw you mention that New York is opening up schools because they've been able to get on the other side of COVID-19. Unfortunately, in Atlanta and across the state of Georgia, we are headed in the wrong direction. Our numbers are continuing to rise, and our ICU beds are at and beyond capacity in many of our hospitals, and we are continuing to face this challenge of reopening the state while not taking the precautions necessary to put us in a place like New York and so many other states who've been able to get to the other side of this virus.
And as you talk about the schools, there is some footage, really disturbing footage of a school north of Atlanta when we see, I think it had to shut down. We saw pictures that went viral that were taken in a hallway, a corridor, crowded, packed with students. And that's less than an hour from your city.
It's very concerning. And Andrea, I have 4 kids. I took 2 of my kids out yesterday to attend a taping that I had to do. And just watching my 2 kids fiddle with their masks, they're kids. They were taking their mask on and off. And it's very difficult to expect our children to be able to abide by all of the rules that are necessary for us to combat COVID-19. And that's my concern. As schools are reopening across the state, many school districts, including the school district in the city of Atlanta, has opted to go with virtual learning for the first few weeks of school. But as I've said repeatedly, it's not just about our kids. It's about our kids often being asymptomatic and infecting teachers and custodians and cafeteria workers. But unfortunately, in Georgia, just yesterday, a 7-year-old with no underlying health conditions died from complications related to COVID-19.
So much for the president's declaring that they are almost definitely immune from it, the children. We know that there are these tragic cases. They may be outliers, but this is the tragedy and this is the risk to the school children. While you as a mom of four children know how important it is to get them back in the classrooms, how is Atlanta responding to your urging them to wear masks? Mandating it, the governor disagreeing, the lawsuit. How widespread is the wearing of masks from your observation?
As I've been out, I've been very encouraged by the number of people that I see with masks on, and it's very hot in Atlanta, as you can imagine right now, 90 degrees plus every day. But as I've gone into the grocery store and other places, people are wearing masks, and I actually was pleasantly surprised because during the spring, I didn't see many people wearing masks, but people are certainly heeding the warning and very appreciative of the fact that we are pushing forward with a mask mandate in the city. We've gotten lots of great notes from business owners who've also expressed their appreciation.
We're rapidly approaching Joe Biden's decision on a running mate. Can you at least clarify whether or not you have had an interview? I assume not an in-person interview. I don't think you've been traveling.
Well, Andrea, I'll continue to refer you to the Biden campaign for questions about that. But as I've said repeatedly, this is the most important election of our lifetime. John Lewis reminded us of that with his parting words. If we don't exercise our right to vote, we will lose it. And so I know there's a lot of speculation and excitement about who Joe Biden will name, but the most important person's name on that ballot will be Joe Biden.
The former vice president did try today to clarify a statement. They got a lot of backlash yesterday where he was saying that the Latino community is diverse, quote, unlike the African-American community. And he tried to say that he did not mean to suggest that the African-American community is a monolith, but is this a problem, the way he was articulating this?
Well, I believe what he was trying to articulate was just in terms of voting patterns, But I know that he doesn't believe that we are a monolith, because I've had these conversations with the vice president directly. And we've talked about the growing importance and voice of the progressive wing of the party, fueled in large part by younger African Americans. So I know that he does not believe that. And I know that as his policies have come forth, his policies reflect his appreciation for the diversity within the African American community. I do think, obviously, that it perhaps could have been expressed better, but I know his heart, and I know the conversations that I have had with him directly and what he's expressed to me about his appreciation of the diversity within the African American community.
And I know how busy you are, but I was really struck when I had a chance to listen to Michelle Obama's podcast yesterday, where she talked about what she called a low-level depression that she's experienced during the pandemic, largely because of the experience of George Floyd's death, reliving a lot of the racism that she and President Obama encountered on their campaign and when they were first in the White House. And it struck me that experience, with all of these police cases, you've experienced them in Georgia, as you know, that's something that millions of African American women are feeling.
Absolutely, Andrea. And I appreciate the Obamas for so many reasons, but I especially appreciated that she had articulated that, because just a couple of days before, I articulated something very similar to my husband. I said, I'm waking up feeling really down. And I almost used the exact words, low-key depression. And it is something that clearly is felt by so many African Americans. And I'm seeing it in our kids, the level of anxiety and fear and frustration. And it's difficult as African American parents, because we are supposed to reassure our children that everything will be okay. And it will be okay. We know that we'll get to the other side of this, but it's very difficult when adults and children are struggling to make sense of where we are in America, which again is why I can't stress enough the importance of this election. This term of Donald Trump needs to be a comma in our history, not a period.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.